Welcome back to the show. We got a great one lined up for you. Could crypto legislation become law this week? Oh, you're going to love the answer. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show. You could follow us on X, YouTube, and digperspectives.com for exclusive content, ladies and gentlemen. Right now, we are looking at $3.75 trillion market cap for crypto. The market is off 6.5%. Bitcoin right now, 117,000 plus. Ethereum, 3,000 plus, slightly over. XRP still at the number 3 spot for the moment. We're 289. Now, we're off by 2% in the last 24 hours, but we're still up 26.1 on the 7-day. Looking at the range of price, ranging between 281 and 302. Let's see where we go. Now, we know markets will take a breath and all these things, and I know nobody wants it. But the reality is I think that's a healthy little breath after the push we had. But we have a lot to go over about what is happening during crypto week, and we're going to get started. But first, I want to tell you about this. Look, it's look, you need Caleb and Brown, ladies and gentlemen. Have you not checked this out yet? There are tons and tons of people sending me messages going, it's night and day, right? They speak to a human customer service. It's incredible. Listen, they have one flat fee, no hidden spreads, no hidden fees, and it's just one flat fee. And the reason you pay that fee is because you get free institutional grade custody, multiple layers of security. You get to speak to human customer service, whether it's a technical issue or you want to speak directly to a prime broker. That's the level of engagement that they have, and it's absolutely night and day. I can tell you that, night and day to what my experience is from the traditional markets to crypto. You won't find this level of service anywhere else. I'm asking you to check it out. Go to xrpwealth589.com, xrpwealth589.com, and open up your free account today. You're going to love it. Absolutely love it. And then right here, the Federal Reserve has officially implemented ISO 20022 for FedWire to improve cross-border payments. Now, I covered this yesterday, was the day that it went live. And as we have said on this show a gazillion times, I didn't expect anything to happen price-wise because for me, the U.S. catalyst or the catalyst for crypto is the United States legislation becoming law, not just getting passed, becoming law. This is what we've been waiting for. This is what will set the markets free. And honestly, this is what will transform the markets where they never, ever look or react the same way ever again. That moment's coming too. So as I said here, with that news of ISO implemented in the FedWire, now we need the U.S. legislation to become law. The final piece of the puzzles are about to be realized. I really do believe that. And speaking of which, look who's preparing for things to become law. It's the big 3 banking regulators. That's right. The OCC, the Federal Reserve, and the FDIC just issued joint guidance on how banks should approach custodying crypto assets. The guidance doesn't create new rules, but reaffirms that banks must apply existing risk management, legal, and compliance frameworks when holding crypto on behalf of customers. So number one, let me just run through these bullets real quick. Banks can hold crypto for customers in fiduciary or non-fiduciary roles, but must follow existing laws and risk management principles. This is why we talked about a long time ago of tucking things into the banking regulatory framework, because if you do that, you don't have to rewrite rules and laws for that. The existing framework is there. So here we see that's exactly what's happening in part, at least. 2, key risks for banks to consider: cybersecurity, cryptographic key control, volatile markets, AML, CFT, OFAC compliance, third-party oversight. If a bank holds the keys, it holds the liability. Full control equals full responsibility. Nothing wrong with that. An interesting nugget in this section, the guidance says that banks must ensure that only they, not even the customer, can access the keys, which they call the standard for true control. Third-party custody vendors are allowed, but banks remain on the hook for their actions and must do the due diligence on them. Obviously, bottom line, banking regulators will allow institutions to custody crypto, but it will be highly scrutinized, highly liability practice. Absolutely. And here's the exact wording here. A banking organization, this is from the Board of Governors at the Fed, banking organization providing safekeeping for crypto assets in a fiduciary capacity, such as a trustee, an executor of a will, an administrator of an estate, or an investment advisor, has the authority to manage them in the same way banking organizations manage other assets they hold as fiduciaries. There it is in black and white. Absolutely love it. Been a long time coming. And Caitlin Long here from Custodia Bank, who's been fighting for years to get her master account, which she should be allowed to have. And shout out to her for the good fight. But listen to what she said, because remember, all of this embrace of crypto started with the executive orders from President Trump the moment he got into office. And remember, he said, I want the executive report done. The 180-day report is coming due on July 22nd. So in just another 7 days, 1 week.
One thing we haven't talked about yet, which is the report from the Treasury Department that's coming out on crypto on July 22nd, which is 180 days after the initial crypto executive order. And I am hearing rumors and believe very strongly that that is going to be a watershed event. And the stablecoin bill is out there in the mix as well. Those two things I think are going to massively change the dynamic in just the next few weeks.
I think she's got it spot on here, and I think that's correct too. And in fact, we're going to talk about whether we could see legislation become law this week. Just you wait. Now, taking a look at this, I got to give a shout out. I'm not going to play this. It's 9 minutes, but it's a great breakdown. And we all know that Representative French Hill is one of the smartest people on this topic and knowledgeable people on this topic in Capitol Hill and in Congress. And it is a really, I mean, we're very lucky to have him and Tom Emmer and so many others. But look, I just want to say, like, this is going the right direction here. He highlights the Clarity Act, Genius Act, Anti-CBDC Surveillance State Act, which are all important. We need every single one of them. And this is U.S. Senate Bank Committee calls to create a regulatory framework. This is Cynthia Lummis. I'll give you just a piece of this.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for holding this hearing and for indulging us in finally addressing the topic of digital assets. When I arrived here 4.5 years ago, there was very little knowledge about digital assets.
That's right.
And to the extent that there was fear because it is something about which people knew very little, and in some cases still know very little. Yet the industry has innovated and grown and become a force in our economy, and in fact, in the global economy. We now see one digital asset company not only make an appearance on the S&P 500, but come into the S&P 500 in about the 135th position. That's how big this company is. We see several companies going public this year that are based in the digital asset industry. Yet we've seen foreign countries get ahead of the United States in terms of establishing a clear regulatory framework for digital assets.
And therein lies the problem, right? As the rest of the world is moving quickly ahead of the United States. And why is that? This isn't about like, well, the U.S. just wants to be the crypto capital of the world. I mean, yeah, they've said that. President Trump has said that. But what's the reason? The reason is to keep the U.S. dollar dominance in play as we move into the new digital on-chain economy. Make no mistake about it, ladies and gentlemen. That's what this is all about. And here is Cody Carbone from the Digital Chamber. And listen to what he says. He's pumped up. We're close, but we got to go a little further. Contact your representative. Take a listen.
Hey everyone, this is Cody Carbone, CEO of the Digital Chamber, with another important ask. This week, the House of Representatives is voting on the Clarity Act. This is market structure legislation that will finally draw the jurisdictional lines between the SEC and the CFTC So if you are issuing a token, you know who your regulator is. If you are listing a token, you know who your regulator is. And it provides the necessary disclosures so all retail investors can feel safe in what they are buying. We need your help and your voice to make sure that the House passes this with an overwhelming bipartisan vote. We've made it super easy for you. Click the link on the screen and call your member of Congress or email your member of Congress. We have a template there for you. Please make your voice heard and let's get plus 300 votes on the Clarity Act to send it to the Senate and finally get the regulatory clarity that this industry deserves. If you have any questions, we're here for you as a resource. Thank you for your time on this.
And they did put this in the most easiest way to go through it. You can go to the digital chamber right here, and you can get everything you need to call your congressman, email your congressman. I'm asking you to do both. I'm going to do it as well. So let's take action and make sure we get this thing across the line. Let's listen to Tom Emmer now, GOP, Majority Whip.
Well, this is the most pro-crypto Congress ever, Mike. This week, we're going to be voting on the Clarity Act. We're going to be voting on my anti-central bank digital currency surveillance state act. And we're going to vote on the Senate's Genius Act, which is about stable coins. And by passing these bills, we're going to protect Americans' right to privacy, and we're going to ensure innovation remains right here in the United States of America. It's going to be a big week.
Going to be a big week. Going to be a big week. Chad Steingraber says this. If this goes through as a clean vote with no changes by the House, then Trump will sign them this Friday. We will have crypto law effective Friday, July 18th. As the House gears up for crypto market structure vote on Wednesday, stablecoins on Thursday. Well, I went to Grok. Said in a perfect scenario, is it theoretically possible for cryptocurrency legislation to be passed and signed into law this week, July 14th through the 18th? During the U.S. House of Representatives designated Crypto Week, however, several factors make this highly ambitious and unlikely in practice, even under optimal conditions. However, it is theoretically possible. And this is what would need to happen here. One, the House is considering three key bills this week during Crypto Week. It's the Genius Act, as we know, stablecoin legislation, the Clarity Act, digital asset market structure, and the Anti-CBDC Surveillance State Act. Now, the Genius Act has already passed the Senate with bipartisan support and making it the most advanced of the three. In a perfect scenario, the House could pass its version of the Genius Act quickly as it has strong industry backing and bipartisan momentum. That is set up for a Thursday vote at the moment. The Clarity Act, the market infrastructure bill, has passed the committee markups, but has not yet been considered by the Senate, making its passage this week more challenging. The Anti-CBDC Act is still under deliberation with less clarity on its progress. Now, I think that one's a little more straightforward, too, so I think that one could actually go through even quicker. But the reality for me is the Clarity Act. That's the one that needs to get caught up, right, and get through committee and then get back to the Senate and then get a full floor vote there. So that is the next big piece that needs to get done immediately, because between stablecoin legislation and the market infrastructure bill, the market itself, I believe, will go absolutely ballistic. So that's what we're looking for. That's where we are in this moment. Now, with that being said, I wanted to say this, as Senator Bill Hagerty is absolutely feeling it. He says, House votes on my Genius Act this week. With this bill, we are one step closer to becoming the global leader in crypto. Let's get this to the President of the United States desk ASAP. I say prepare for market liftoff. And as we do prepare for market liftoff during Crypto Week, whether we get one bill or all of them, it's a great week to have Crypto Week, because just 4 years ago, as Senator Lummis said, nobody knew anything about anything and there wasn't going to be a week of nothing. But now we're looking at this, where Eggrag Crypto says Y365 is the Valhalla gateway. And he shows us where that mark is right here. And we get out and above that channel, that green line channel that we see here, and then we find that as support. Then all of that talk about the 20 plus, $22, $27 range is back on the table as far as he's concerned. And I say, you know what? He ain't let me down yet. I think all of this is happening, and I am super excited to see it unfold. The question is how long will it take to get all of that legislation done? Because I do believe we get it all done this year, because all of it is ineffective unless all of it is passed and signed into law together. And that's where it will be most impactful, not only for the markets, but for the United States in becoming the leader of crypto in the world. That's where we are on this day. Listen, that's going to do it for me. Not financial advice from me or anyone else. We're going into the Freedom Zone today. Oh, we're going to talk more about that woman that helped Epstein. We're going to hear from her directly. And then we're going to hear about how there's different things and approaches to health, and about how some things have been demonized that really shouldn't have been from day one. So this is going to be a fun little hang in here. I hope you will join us, and you can. Click the join button under any title of the video on the YouTube videos, or go in the description box and join us in Patreon. You can also join us in Twitter as well in the subscription. Same price, same perks, same material. It's just wherever you choose to consume it. So that's what we have, and I will catch all of you inside. Come on in.